5 years and still talking. This is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Live from Harlem in New York. From the most infected city in the world, it is the Ramble with Alex Bennett. That's me, and I'll be here until tonight at midnight. Ladies and gentlemen, out to the coast, the left coast of the United States, as they say. Hey, it's Larry Bubbles Brown. Hello, Larry.
Hey, Alex.
How you doing?
Good. I saw a documentary last night that reminded me of you. It was about Bernard Getz.
Yeah, I was watching on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait a minute, you have Netflix?
I was up at my sister's.
Yeah, no, I watched it. My old apartment house is in it.
Yeah, because I remember you told me he had your old apartment.
Mm-hmm. In case people don't know the story, Bernard Getz was a subway shooter. He was the guy who went down the subway and suddenly decided that 4 black men were out to get him, and I think wounded all 4, didn't he? And he
wounded all 4, and kind of one was badly wounded.
I think to this day he's in a wheelchair. Okay.
Yeah.
And he went down and shot him, and in some people's minds he was a hero, in other people's minds he was a racist, right?
Right.
And when I was living, I had moved out to California, and somebody called me up and said, "Hey, have you been seeing about this subway shooter?" I said, "Yeah, I've been seeing about it." He said, "Did you just see the latest news?" I said, "What?" They showed his apartment house. He said, "It's your apartment house." I said, "Oh, really?" He says, "Yeah, it's in the paper and everything." He says, "You were apartment 7I, weren't you?" or something like that. All right. And I said, "No." Wait a minute. I said, "Yes, that was our apartment." He says, "Well, that's the apartment he lives in now." So apparently he went from our apartment down to the subway with his gun, shot these guys, and if I hadn't moved out, that kid might be walking today. That's the way I always looked at it. That's the kind of fate that we get occasionally in situations like that. But yeah,
the amazing thing is that he later turned himself in. They never would have gotten him. So that shows you how technology is.
He turned himself in, and then I think he went on trial. I didn't see the rest of it yet.
He was acquitted.
He was acquitted. Yeah. Now I haven't seen the end of the documentary yet. Do they show him today at all?
At the very end, they do, and he was acquitted. Then there was a civil suit. There was a huge judgment against him, but he had no money.
Yeah.
And at the end, they show him he's just kind of sitting around an apartment. I guess he's got a pet squirrel.
He got a pet squirrel?
Seriously, yeah, and so he seemed very happy.
Yeah. Well, I tried to get him on the show in San Francisco after all of that because he got to know Al Goldstein of Screw Magazine. They became friends. And I said to him, "Would you please ask Bernie if he'd like to talk to me?" Because what I had heard was that he was a very good cook. And I wanted to get cooking hints from Bernard Getz. And he went and asked Bernie, and Bernie said, "No way, that guy left the apartment in a mess." Well, I didn't leave it a mess. My ex-wife did because I had moved. I'd been gone from there about 3 months before she left. Okay, but that was the sum total of it. So that was my entire my. I suppose with that coincidence, I can never win the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes now because
never get it.
All coincidences flown out the window. But that was amazing. He moved in when I moved out. He moved into my apartment. He had been in another apartment in the building, and he wanted a larger apartment.
And what year did you move out?
Oh God, I can't remember. I think 1979, 1980, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was quite a story, actually. And I watched half of it last night. I was going to watch the other half today, but now you've spoiled it for me.
Well, it's still worth watching.
I know. I'm only kidding, because how can you spoil something that happened years ago? Right?
Yeah, he was a real life Death Wish guy.
Yeah. Did you see who produced that show?
No.
George Clooney.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I guess he sold a series to Netflix, and it's called Tried in the Media, I think is what it's called.
That's it, yeah.
And they have Blagojevich is an example of one of them, and I can't remember a couple others that I want to see. Not all of them. Some of them I don't even recognize as having been big stories, but I guess they were.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so that was my whole deal with Bernard Goetz, and so I found that very interesting and fascinating.
Well, it's too bad you didn't get to interview him.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. And then in this documentary, I love seeing Al Sharpton in the day when he was like this big roly-poly fat pig, and now he's a really skinny pig. So, but he went and lost a lot of weight. I mean, he's really skinny now. But back then,
he looks like the air's been let out of him.
Exactly. That's exactly what it looks like.
Not a healthy skinny. And
left him with a sour, persimmon crunching look on his face. You know.
Yeah.
So, amazing. Just amazing. So how's everything out in California? I guess you guys are getting back into the action, right?
Very slowly. The restaurant still can't go into restaurants here.
Mm-hmm.
The big news is that Elon Musk is threatening to take his factory out of Fremont.
Now, am I mistaken? But didn't he do something improper, and they threw him out as the CEO of Tesla?
No, he made some remarks that got the company into a little trouble, but he didn't get thrown out.
But supposedly he had to step down as CEO or something.
No, he's still CEO.
Oh, really? Well, and then he had to step down as something, president of the company or something like. All I know is I wouldn't think he was in a position to be able to say we're moving somewhere else.
Yeah, I think he still has a whole ball of wax, so he's talking about moving to Arizona or Texas, and
yeah.
They're defying the state right now. The workers in the factory yesterday and today, but they haven't been arrested yet.
Yeah, he'd probably drive to that new location, but he'd have to stop and recharge every 200 miles, and probably that would take all night. I could never see the practicality of an all-electric automobile if I can't charge it in 5 minutes. You know?
Yeah, so I guess there's quick chargers that'll do it in 30.
Yeah.
But that's the real drawback.
I mean, you go 200 miles, and then you got to stop, and hopefully you'll find a quick charger and do it in 30 minutes, but then you got to find something to do with that 30 minutes. I mean,
yeah, that's a long time to kill, and then if there's a quick charger, there's probably going to be, how many cars going to be lined up waiting to get on it. So.
Yeah. I mean, and what does he use for batteries now? Originally, he was using Duracells, I think, all stuck together was the original Tesla. But, I mean, what I think I like is a hybrid. I like one where if you lose your electricity, okay, you've used it all up, you have some gas in a tank, just a little bit, to get you so far. Also, what happens if you run out of electricity and you're in the middle of a highway somewhere?
You're screwed.
I mean, so you're always looking at that gauge constantly. And I mean, with fuel, once it hits empty, you got another couple of miles, right?
Yeah, supposedly, yeah.
Supposedly. Yeah, but I could never see, I see how wonderful it is that it doesn't pollute the environment and stuff like that. But it just doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to me when it comes to the ease of using it. Okay.
Yeah, although there's even some question about that, since you're charging them with electricity that's coming from coal-powered plants in many cases.
Yeah. So
they are fast though. There was a Tesla guy that got busted in Michigan last week doing 180.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Does it use up more electricity if you go that fast?
Uses more if you go real fast, or if you drive it, it's really cold. It uses more.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Yeah, well. So I mean, I used to put on a lot of miles on a car in a week. I don't know about you.
I do.
Yeah. But I would take my car to the drugstore, which is 2 blocks away. I mean, that's the way I was. And in fact, I had a girlfriend who thought I was cheating on her because she started checking the mileage on my car.
That's really paranoid.
And she says, "How did you do 800 miles last month?" I said, "Easily." She thought I was cheating on her by going to see somebody in L.A. I don't know, and I said, "No." I said, I use that many miles in my car. And I knew how many miles I did in my car because the other thing that drove me nuts is I leased a car. And when you lease a car, after like 35,000 miles or something like that, you start paying by the mile.
Oh, they give you like most are 12 to 15,000 a year.
Yeah. And so if you have...
then they charge you like a dime a mile, which can add up.
Yeah. And you're going... Well, I guess I can't use the car for the rest of the year because I've used up all the mileage.
Park it for the rest of the year.
That's why I had 2 cars. I had a Nissan 300, and I had an Acura, and the Acura was the lease car, and it drove me nuts. What I would do is when I got to a certain amount of mileage, I started shifting over to the other car.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, that used to drive me nuts. So being limited to like a 200-mile stretch on a charge really would give me the willies.
Yeah, anytime where you're worried about looking at the odometer and seeing how much you got
and
left.
And the hell with the atmosphere, To hell with the ecology. I mean, what kind of car do you have, Bubs?
I have a Camry.
And how much gas does it suck up?
It gets about 23 miles a gallon.
Oh, really? That's pretty good for a Camry.
Yeah.
I thought you had like a big GTO or something like that,
No, I had, years ago, I had a Trans Am that sucked gas pretty good.
Yeah, how did that do? Do you remember?
That was about 18 miles on the highway, probably 15 around town.
Don't you love them when they suck gas? Huh? How about that? You get that feeling... Life's good. Life's good.
I'll have the cheap gas.
Fuck the environment. I don't care how much gas I'm using. I don't mind how much pollution I'm throwing into the air. I know everybody's finding this disgusting of me, but...
Well, we're near the end, so we don't care.
I really don't care what kind of world I leave you because you didn't do anything to prevent me from leaving you in that kind of world, right?
Yeah.
You kept yelling and screaming about the EPA and things like that. So if I want to use gas that pollutes, fuck you.
I looked at, I'm always looking at cars for sale. And Toyota had this car I'd never heard of called the Mirai or something, and it goes by hydrogen. And they had they had 3 for sale here, and they said, we'll give you $15,000 in fuel credit for the first 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Runs on hydrogen. So I started to do a little research, and it sounded pretty good. Then there's in the entire Bay Area, there's 3 service stations that sell hydrogen. So
Yeah. So that's a bit of a problem, too.
that's a bit of a drawback.
Now, if you could extract that hydrogen from water, now we got something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd think there would be something that's coming along like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, we've run out of time once again, Larry Bubbles Brown.
It goes so fast when you and I are just buzzing along like a...
Yeah, and at my age, when I say we've run out of time, I mean...
You're not kidding.
I'm not kidding. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Larry Bubbles Brown, thank you so much,
Thank you,
Larry.
Al.
Bye-bye.
5 years and still talking. This is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And there we go. There's Larry Bubbles Brown. Here's me. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Look, see how pale I look? How wan I look? How terrible this kind of looks? I forgot to turn this on. I'm forgetting all kinds of things lately. And I think it's because of a lot of the medication I'm taking. I'm overdoing the medication, folks. That's what I'm doing. Hold on a second. I got to just find the... here we go. We'll turn on. Boom. There we go. The lights are on now. See? See how beautiful I look? Okay. All right. Well, I think that probably it would be very nice if we were to maybe check in with something that we like to do every now and then. And let's see what's happening with our national illness. And there's the map. There's our a map that we show you every night. See what's happening in the world. The current total. Let's look at the tote board. Let's look at the tote board. I wish we had like a drum roll. 4,438,371 cases confirmed around the world. Some of the countries are lying. Some of the countries are telling the truth. Some of the ones are underestimated. I think, like the United States, I think we are underestimated in our number. Total deaths worldwide has now topped 300,000. It's at 302,115 people who were here about a month ago and are not, or 2 months ago and are not here now on the face of the earth. Well, let's think of it as thinning out the herd. Okay, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the United States has, well, we're getting towards 1.5 million, but we got 1,417,774 with the total deaths here. They always say global deaths up there, and there's no reason for them to. It's 85,886. We're about ready to go to 86,000. Not good. Not good when you look at the rest of the world. But who's in second place now, oddly enough, is Russia. They say they have deaths of 2,305. Okay? Total confirmed cases, 252,245. Do you believe that number? I mean, Russia's a pretty big country. Look, it's the largest landmass in the world, okay? You could put Let's see here. I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 United States in Russia. Okay. Here's China down in here, and China, you could put maybe about 6 Chinas in Russia, and they don't have as much as, well, I just don't get it. China's all the way down here now. Look at that. China's all the way down here, and how many they have? How many deaths they have? They had, let's see here. Come here. Give me this. There we go. They say 84,029 confirmed total, and the global deaths, the deaths for them, 4,637. They stem the tide because they, and look at them, they're right down here. You can see they've flattened out, but they are not going down. That's their problem. They're not going down. I'm trying to find South Korea here. South Korea is starting to have a problem. Again. Okay. Oh, well, I don't see South Korea. They're not, I'm sure they're not down that far. Oh, well. Anyway, that's our current look at the map. Okay, so that gives you kind of an idea of where we're at worldwide. Oh man, I today have been having the allergies from hell. And I don't know why, because it's lower today than it has been. But you never know, because sometimes there are certain factors that go into it, certain kind of things like the elms are up or the junipers or whatever, and that's the one you're allergic to. Well, whatever I'm allergic to today, my eyes have been burning, nose has been dripping. I don't have a temperature, so it's not the nasty COVID. I have a 98, let's say I just tested myself, 98.4, and sometimes it's down around 98, so I don't think I have the dreaded COVID. Let me turn this fan down. It's giving me too much of a chill. And I guess, I don't know, I have not that much to talk to you about today, so what say we open up the Skype lines? Hold on a second. They aren't open yet, folks. You know, as I say, I don't turn them on till I'm ready to go on, because it's a real problem. Because some people start calling anyway. So let me see here. Okay. All right. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. One of these nights I may do the show using Zoom, just for the convenience of a lot of people. See how many people we get, okay, as a result of that. Oh, wow, already. And there's Charlie Wallace, ladies and gentlemen. I'll bet the next guy to call is going to be Brian Neary. I'll just bet you. Let's see here. Brian Neary is second. He's in there today. Let's see here. Let me see. There was Charlie and Brian. Brian Neary. Yeah. There they go. Oh, and look, he's showing us. You really have to make me feel bad for not being there, don't you?
Yeah. It's beautiful in Texas too.
Well, yeah, but you cannot. You don't have a window to shoot out, right?
No, I don't face to.
All right. Well, Texas is beautiful. It's lovely and adorable. Hello, Brian. Here comes Jeff. Jeff was in the second place last night. Let's see if he comes up in that spot now. There he is. So already we're there. Here comes Phil Meyer. Phil was in. I think he was in the. Let's
Seventh.
see here.
Way back there.
No, was he way back there? Oh, no. He was in 5th place last night. Rob Alfano, I think. Did Rob call last night? No. Or did he? Maybe he did. But let me put him in the 4th place here. Come on, Rob Alfano. There we go. I'm glad you guys all call in pretty much your same spots. Then I don't have to work too hard in getting all this to work, you know. Boy, are my eyes burning today. Boy, have I been sniffling. It's getting to be finally getting to be spring around here. I think tomorrow it's supposed to be in the high 70s, maybe.
Yeah.
Jeff. Yeah.
We're already at 90-degree weather here.
Hmm. Well, that's winter in Texas.
That's right.
Look, I mean, I lived in Houston, and that was the most humid city I've ever lived in my life until I came to New York. New York is pretty damn humid, and I can never figure out why. I mean, you would think, hey, it's the East Coast, east. You think cool weather? Man, we get right. Am I right, Jeff?
Lots of ocean.
Lots of ocean. Yeah, that's it.
And you're in Manhattan, you're right in the middle of water.
Well, also in Manhattan, we got one other factor going, and that is just a hellish amount of. Let me see here. I bet they. Yep. There, Kevin comes right up in his spot from last night. So everybody's in the spot they were in last night. Nobody move. But man, I'm telling you, my eyes are just right now. They're burning like crazy. And
what I remember about New York, and I left there, I was 18, was the bugs. It was humid. There were bugs. It was cold as anything in the winter. It was like Siberia. Your skin felt like leather. I couldn't
do you
wait
know
to get out of it.
this winter, and I think Jeff will agree with me on this, this winter was pretty mild.
It has.
I mean, the cold weather stayed around longer than usual, but it wasn't that cold. I think we only went under 32 a couple of times during the winter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody ever went skiing.
Yeah.
This
What was the song? Was it by the Trogs? Hot Town, Summer in the City?
No, that was Love and Spoonful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
And that
Yeah.
song always sounded like what it felt in New York City on a hot day. That
Wild
da-dum,
things was wild.
da-dum.
Yeah.
Very oppressive. Very oppressive. And plus you got all the the concrete. And so the heat radiates off the concrete. It's like you're a piece of bacon on a griddle.
Yeah.
So
And the junkies.
yeah. What were you
well,
gonna say?
still, you're talking about when you were, 16 or so?
Yeah.
Didn't have much air conditioning then.
No.
We had air conditioners in our house. They were the window air conditioners, and the cars were air conditioned that my father had.
Mhm.
But you're right. Air conditioning wasn't as prevalent. We used to go to the theater, the movie theater. That was air conditioned. That was a big deal.
I didn't come up with air conditioning until I moved to Houston, Texas. I don't think I ever had an air conditioned anything.
You don't need it in San Fran.
Yeah, but he was in Marin, and when you were growing up, right?
No, when I was growing up, I was in Marin, yeah, partially, and I was in San Francisco for 11 years of my life.
Well, you don't. Well, the 11 years was later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the San Francisco, you don't need air conditioning. In Marin, there's a few days a year that it'd be nice, but you don't really need it.
No, you didn't really need it. And San Francisco, I called San Francisco, I once described it as the world's only air-conditioned city.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a certain cool quality about the air in San Francisco with the coming in off the ocean and so on. That you just,
There's areas because of the cool and the warm meeting each other that
Yeah.
there's fog 320 days a year.
Yeah, right. And
You see a lot of fog come over the Santa Cruz Mountains just because of the cool weather up there. And on the weekends, if we know it's going to be hot, we'll take off just over the hill, and you right up to the top, and it's very, very cool and like foggy, and then you go back down the side, and it's really nice.
Yeah. Well, I have these lights, that I use on the show, and boy, they feel just oppressively hot, bright tonight.
They're LEDs,
Huh?
right?
What?
They're LEDs. You can turn them down.
They're
right?
LEDs. I can turn them down. Let me turn them down a little bit. I turned them up to kind of get them right today for some reason. Oh, here comes Tony again. Tony had trouble getting in. Let's see here. He'll pop in now. He should pop in. There he is. There he is. He's drinking his coffee. What'd you have trouble?
Yeah, it kind of popped out.
Yeah, yeah. Really? We'll just shove it back in.
Well, I'm going to go get my beverage.
What? You didn't think to get your beverage before the show? You couldn't do that
No,
for
I
us?
was listening in the background and looking at some reviews for something I bought a while ago and never ever used, and now I know why, because nobody ever uses them.
What was that? What was that?
This thing, the Arsenal. It's a it's a unit that goes on top of your camera, and it's supposed to do like HDR and eliminate shake and make extremely sharp photos. But you have to use it in conjunction with an iPhone. It's a real pain in the ass, and I've never used it.
I see.
So I said, I wonder what everybody else thinks about this piece of shit. I'll be right back.
Okay, so you're gonna go get yourself. I'm trying to do something here, folks. There we go. It's horrible having to do everything here. I wish I had somebody that did some of the stuff, but I have to do every bit of the. Are you still there, Tony? He's frozen again. What happened to Tony? He disappears.
Either that or he went into a trance.
It could be. It could be.
The wallpaper hypnotized.
The wallpaper hypnotized him.
Hypnotized.
Oh, here he comes again. There we go. Well, I hope you'll stick around this time, Tony.
I keep freezing.
Really?
No, I mean I kind of bop off. Maybe I'm getting disconnected. I don't know. Maybe
there you go again. No, now you're not frozen. No, you're okay so far. Let's all wait for him. Here's the exciting part about doing a show like this. Let's wait for him to, Today I did a what do you call it? A Zoom with Marjorie and Albert. Because Albert never used Zoom, and I said to him, it's really simple. And I finally subscribed to it, so at $14.99 a month.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah?
I heard you say that you were thinking about doing Zoom here. The only way I know how to do Zoom is if you send out an invite. So how could you say, all right, the lines are open, call now on Zoom?
Go over, I'll post the link on my Facebook page.
So that's the only way. People have to go to a Facebook page and click a link.
Click on the link, and immediately, even if you don't have Zoom installed on your machine.
Right. But you still have to have a place, because there's no way you can just say like you can with GABNet. I mean, with Skype, call us at GABNet.
Well, I could on the screen. Well, yeah, I could on the screen put the address, but it's kind of a wonky address. So rather than have people do that, I could just say, well, go over to my Facebook page and just click on the link I have posted there, and then they can try. I mean, I thought I'd do it maybe for one night and just see how it works.
So you're tired of hitting yourself over the head, and now you want to do this.
Well, no. Actually, I got to tell you, the one that they've done a good thing with Zoom. I mean, I wish Skype were this good. Okay, to begin with, the picture looks phenomenal. All right, that's for starters. The sound is phenomenal, and the ease of use is ridiculous. I could take, if my mother was still alive, I could probably teach her how to do it. Okay, it's that simple. However, the reason I wouldn't use it on the show on a constant basis is look how this looks, folks. I have all these people there, and they're all in their individual places. And I have the background. I have the GABNet logo there. I have a live picture of myself, which is not coming off of Skype. It's coming off a camera. And it all looks really good. In fact, I watched this blown up last night on my TV set, and it was looking just absolutely gorgeous, because now I'm sending this thing out in 1080p as well. So it looks great. Zoom, however, is very easy to use. So it would be interesting to see how many people would call who don't normally call, And of course, with the thing I just set up, I can actually have up to 100 people at a time.
Oh,
Boy, would that be a clusterfuck, huh?
Zoom.
Huh?
Who owns Zoom?
I think Zoom owns Zoom.
Oh, okay. So it's not a Microsoft product.
No, I don't think it's any company like that. Yeah. Now you've used Zoom, haven't you, Rob? On some of
Yeah,
your...
I have my company provides us a subscription.
Yeah, and it works pretty well, right?
Yeah, I use it fairly frequently. I like it.
It's very good when you have a group of people like we have the
But
tenants association. We're going to have a
If you,
meeting on Sunday.
If you post that link, well, I guess it's like here. No, it's not, because I don't know. If you post that link, then any nut job could join.
But I also with the
Same here.
with the 19 with the $14.95 a month, I can go to a page and set up everything I want to. I can say, don't let anybody come on unless I approve them. So if I see somebody I don't want or who's been a problem, I just don't approve them. I don't
they
admit
go to
them.
a waiting room or something, don't
They
they?
go, first you make them go to the waiting room. I can do away with that waiting room. Today with Albert and Marjorie, I did away with the waiting room, and they just called. They were there before I even signed on.
That's another option.
Yes, that's another
and
option.
allow
You have all
people
kinds.
have to
You
wait
have
for it.
you have tons of options.
Yeah.
The people you don't approve, I guess, are the ones that are on the chat on this thing, or the people that are, crazy are the ones that are on the chat.
What do you mean crazy? I don't get what you're saying.
You said that if you don't want somebody on this, you can go into the waiting room. Well, on this, you got those guys on the chat that are kind of,
It's true. There's no chat on Zoom.
There is a chat on Zoom, actually. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
chat
there
for
is.
inside the room.
Yeah, they got one
but
on the
not-
side.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it won't be on
Yeah.
Facebook.
However, there's another advantage, and I can turn that on or off, and that is, let's say I'm on with you on Zoom and all of you guys, but I only want to send a chat to Rob. I can do that. So, or I can send a chat to everybody.
Right.
So I mean, there are a lot of advantages to it. The disadvantage is that in doing a show like this, they have yet to create a situation where I can take the individual pictures and modify them and put them up here like I have them here, right? So that's
OBS doesn't work with Zoom.
huh?
OBS does not work with Zoom.
It works, but it works very strangely. Okay. OBS works with Zoom, but I've got to tell Zoom that I want it to display the, what was the term that's used here? Display the window capture. Okay. So that window, which is the Zoom, I can then put up, but I have to put the whole thing up. And everybody would be there. And the whole thing works pretty well. I mean, it can be done. It's a little more wonky in that respect. In other words, I can't do what I do here, and this looks really good and nice, and and I imagine there is some program out there or something that the Zoom people do for the networks so they can isolate pictures and so on. I think that's probably available somewhere. But they also have a whole menu of things you can subscribe to, and some of them cost upwards to $500. And maybe what they do is they charge the networks extra money to be able to pull out a certain picture and put it on the screen and have more of a, what's the word I'm looking for? More, huh? Control, yeah. So, I don't know. I may try it some night. Either that or I might just do it on Facebook.
Alex, I know you did that on that one Saturday. I was driving and I heard it, but how did you do it at that time?
I did that on the other machine here, which for some reason on the PC, the picture doesn't, the window, I can't get the window to come up. It just comes up white. But I can say, let me do the display, and then I cut off most of the display and just show that. Okay.
But did you send it? Did you send an invite out to everybody?
No, I actually, on my Facebook page, I put the address.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and the address never changes. I have my address, and that's it. So, and I can change that, of course, if I want to.
The hackers were pretty funny.
Yeah, we had hackers. We had what they call, what they call them? Zoom bombs.
Zoom bomb. Yeah.
And I can do away with that too, because all I have to do is I just say, do not put up share, a share thing where you can share your screen. And that's what they were doing. They were just bombing me by sharing their screen.
These were unknown callers?
Oh, yeah. These were unknown callers. Yeah.
Saw it.
I love
Well,
you,
that-
Alex. And then the next thing I see is
Spoilers
this
were about-
giant penis and a giant vagina.
Boing,
Oh,
boing,
yeah, they
boing.
put porn up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't monetize it.
And it's called Zoom bombing.
Yeah, this one, she's like a sister to me growing up, but she is a real estate person, and she was on the news because she had a Zoom and she had like 10 people, and yeah, Pornhub came on there and all this stuff, and the news, well, they blurred it, but so they had a story about that, but it was pretty funny. It's right when everyone started doing Zoom again.
Yeah.
Really hilarious.
Yeah. So anyway, it's something for me to look at. I really have to kind of stick with Skype, but Skype is harder for the average person to use. Yeah, I can give out our Skype address, which is GABNet Live, and all you have to do is pump that in there and come to us. But there's a lot. It's just. It's not as much. It's not as easy as just clicking on a link, and there you are.
I don't see why it's so difficult. I mean, you just get the app. You type in the address.
To you it seems simple. That's almost more complicated already than this is. All I do is send out a note to somebody and say, "Here, Zoom me," and they click on the link, and the next thing you know, I'm talking to them.
Yeah, my company is some crazy thing like a web root or something like that.
I mean, you don't even have to download Zoom in
No,
order.
I didn't even have Zoom.
Yeah,
I just clicked on your link.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I have this thing that we use for our internal stuff at the when I have calls, and it's like WebRoot or something like that. I think it's an Adobe connector, and you have to dial up a phone number. You have to click on a link, and then you have to put in a meeting code, and then a meeting number, and then you're on the thing, and then you can share your camera and your audio.
Well, the reason why I subscribed to it was I found that when I did something with Pearl yesterday, he had to put in a password, and I can bypass that if I pay $14.99 a month, so that the caller doesn't have to put in a password. So it makes it even easier. Okay, so
yeah,
that's that's how that situation works. Oh boy, I'm just tired tonight. I don't know why. I'm just not feeling 100%. I don't think I have the COVID. Because I'm not coughing, but my eyes are burning, and I'm not.
It could be allergies.
It is allergies. Are your allergies bothering you?
Actually, no.
Oh, then shut the fuck
up.
up.
What? And I got missed. I mean, I'm scared to go in
Leave the house.
How about you, Jeff? Do you have allergies?
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't.
There's nobody in the New
I
York
don't.
area anymore. Yeah.
But my allergies do get bad. You know what I notice, Alex? When they start cutting the grass in my neighborhood, it bothers me.
Really?
They have grass in Queens?
Yeah, it really annoys me.
What do they cut the grass with? Minute?
No, I mean they have like people. The guy who
You mean mannitol, Phil?
Whenever they cut it,
Gee, you don't even know what you cut your Coke with, you know? And that's Coke you cut with, not...
That's the joke.
Oh, really?
No, it's not the joke. You didn't know what you cut Coke with. I do, having been a...
It's baby powder, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. And you shit your brains out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby laxative, yeah.
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 Well, I've heard of people cutting coke with Manit.
Not Manit. There's no such thing as Manit.
No? I thought it was baby powder.
Maybe you're thinking of a soccer player, Manute Bol. You know.
No.
No, there's no. It's called mannitol.
Basketball.
Mannitol. Yeah.
Was that basketball?
basketball.
See, that's how much I know sports. All right.
We give you a pass.
Yeah.
But you know, my eyes just feel burning tonight, just like crazy. And I have this. I have various things I put in there to make them feel better, but they're just. I'm a mess today for some reason.
You ever use Pat-a-day
What?
drops? Pat-a-day drops?
No.
Yeah, they're expensive, but they work.
Really?
Yeah, once
Yeah.
a day.
Well, I have some stuff here. Let me
I
see.
heard
What is it?
Clorox might work.
Yeah, cleans like a white tornado.
This is Zapador. Let me see.
Oh,
here.
Zatador, yeah, my wife used that.
Yeah, this is. There we go. And supposedly it'll take some of the burning out of the eyes.
I could use some of that myself.
Oh, hold on a second, folks.
That's crap when I wear contacts.
Huh?
It's something that when I wear contacts, they come in little capsules, and you break the capsule open. So one time
It's called poppers.
Yeah, it looks like poppers.
Anyway, so what's happening in the news today? You know, has Trump been keeping his mouth shut lately? He's been awfully.
no.
Nice, good job.
Oh, what, did he do something today?
He's up
I
against
watched,
Fauci.
what's his name, Bright, on C-SPAN.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a hell of a job.
threw stuff on the sword.
Oh, what did he do? What did he do? What's the new thing?
Oh, he spilled his guts.
Yeah.
We should have known about this in, January 1st?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Who we? He went after somebody, right? Today?
Bright.
The whistleblower.
Oh,
Dr.
Bright.
oh, Dr.
Bright.
Bright. Oh, of course, Bright. Yeah.
Yeah, he
I
basically
got
said
fired. Remember?
we're going to be in for the worst winter we got coming up, he thinks, if
Yeah.
things don't
Just
get
winter
changed.
thing.
If things don't change,
Yeah.
I mean, we can.
They're not going to change.
No, they're not going to change.
They're not.
Because
No.
he says we're so far behind, and
Yeah, I don't get it. You know,
the
I
way
was
that
listening-
the way that whole thing went, I watched it from 9 o'clock on out here, which was noon to there, I guess. But it was interesting to watch because as the questioning went on, more and more and more of the right side of the aisle left, and there was
Yeah.
no more Republicans asking questions. They just
Yeah.
left.
Well, that was, that's kind of stupid. I mean, if you're
Yeah,
gonna, if
Because
you,
they were getting buried.
Social
They had nothing to ask.
social
because-
distancing.
Yeah, they were doing that. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I don't know him.
But it was interesting to watch because he kept bringing up all the things that he was bringing up in early January
Yeah.
and late January, and basically saying, we're in deep shit, it's coming, and nobody really listened.
Well, you know what got me today? And it gets me a bit about a couple of these companies. The one I'm really down on now is MSNBC. And I'm going to tell you why. Because today, for instance, good example, this guy Bright is giving his testimony. His testimony, most Americans, I think, wanted to hear. Even if you were Republican, you wanted to hear what he had to say, right? At noon, they break into him so Andrea Mitchell can do her show. What? And I go over to CNN, they've got him on for another hour. But no, Andrea Mitchell's got to do her little show. And I think it's Andrea Mitchell sitting there bitching. I don't know, get this guy off. I want to get on the air.
I didn't even go there. I went to see.
She doesn't control that's an executive, a news executive at NBC that makes that decision.
Well,
She can
boy, that
control-
was a terrible decision.
It was if that happened, that was terrible.
I mean,
but
it
she
went
can't
on.
bitch.
It went on for another hour. Okay, they just wanted to get to commercials or something.
Well, Andrea Mitchell's husband's unemployed.
Yeah, he's taking what do you call it? Unemployment.
They
getting
all
an
gonna be
impact.
taking unemployment
We're all
soon.
still waiting for this one.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, I just that pissed me off. That really pissed me off. And then what pisses me off too is every day I wait for Cuomo to start his little thing, and they don't get to it when he starts. And at the very beginning is when he gives all the numbers and the statistics, which is all I really care about. Okay. And they didn't go to him. I think today they didn't go to him until after he had gotten well into all those statistics. Meanwhile, you know what I found I do now? Because they all get out of Cuomo when he starts going to the question and answer period. Because they all want to do their advertising, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. They cut away.
So I go over to CBSN, which has a New York channel. Okay? And I put that on. And of course, they're happy to carry it all the way through on CBSN New York. So I just watch it from there. But I mean, it's just the way these knuckleheads handle this stuff. Like, oh yeah, we're going to run all these governors and stuff. Oh, wait a minute, we need to run commercials. Goodbye, governor. You know? I just think in a time like this, you've got to supply people with all the news that's available. I even think that if Trump runs one of his nitwit press conferences, you cover those too. At least for our amusement.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's with this? Yes, Jeff.
Sometimes we try to find it for the governor,
Yeah.
and we put it on Fox.
They cover it?
It's often on Fox.
They put it on Fox News Channel?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
You think it'd be on C-SPAN or something?
It is on C-SPAN.
It is on
Sometimes, not all the time.
1, 2, 3,
Not all the time.
Right.
But CBS, if you have,
cable. Not
the app,
cable.
if you have the app, you have the internet, CBSN, the app, and it's CBSN New York. It has New York, L.A., Chicago, Minneapolis.
Is that a subscription?
No,
No.
it's free.
It's free.
When I first cut the cable, or cut the cable, I used to watch CBSN all the time, and then I ended up getting the Yahoo TV now, and that it gives me all the news channels. But
yeah, but the fact is, all I'm saying is these news channels are not reliable. At least, especially with the Cuomo thing. I mean, I'm interested more in Cuomo than watching the New Jersey governor or the Minnesota governor or whatever. And I want to see it from beginning to end. And the only place I can get it from beginning to end, not even C-SPAN, because some days they don't carry Cuomo's, but they do on CBSN New York.
yeah.
And sometimes that's duplicated on their main CBSN feed as well.
Is that the one with Duthier and Anne Marie Green? The two commentators?
I don't think it seems like they've changed their format. Before they used to have anchors.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to be having those anchors anymore. At least I don't see them. They do have anchors on the local news. On the CBSN New York, CBSN LA, CBSN San Francisco, or it's called CBSN Bay Area. And they do all have their own individual anchors.
Because I thought Duthier, I forgot his first name, and Anne Marie Green were in New York.
Well, I don't know. I don't know who these hosts are. I just watch it for Cuomo. I know that bothers the hell out of you, Phil, but I watch it for Cuomo.
You want to wait for watching Cuomo, bloviate, then go right ahead.
It's not bloviating.
Hey, it's just a little shiny.
How many here have seen Cuomo? Would anybody describe that as bloviating?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
No, I didn't ask you, Phil. I'm replying. You already said how you felt about it. Any of you guys think he's bloviating, or you think he's just giving out with facts?
Facts.
And when he does give out with his opinion, on the screen it says, "My opinion."
That's funny. I like when he does that.
Under everything he says.
What?
Which is under everything.
Oh,
he
it's
says.
under everything he says. Like how many people died yesterday? I don't think he needs to put in my opinion.
A mime that says that something about Cuomo is just talking to hear himself talk.
Yeah, I know you're repeating
You
what
mean
you
Trump
read.
doesn't do that?
Somebody.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh no.
Well,
Just the facts, ma'am.
Yeah.
Trump doesn't talk.
I'll
to
tell you
himself.
something. I'll tell you.
I love it when he says stuff like, I've seen great things with that, but who knows? Maybe it'll disappear, maybe it won't, and he just keeps on rambling,
Don't
saying
you see
nothing.
the little thing that says it's Trump's opinion?
He never says
How about when
anything
he
but
says the
opinion.
economy
He
next
doesn't
year is
ever
gonna
have a
shoot up?
fact.
So you don't have to worry about it. It's
He never has a fact. He never has anybody brief him, and unless he reads it on a teleprompter, which then he sounds like a grade school person reading a report. Today on my vacation, I did this because he doesn't like reading from a prompter.
Well, I got to say that he did get on Obama about using a teleprompter, and
but he uses a teleprompter.
It was
Using
so
it like
nice
crazy.
today to see Mitch McConnell walk back his comments about the Obama administration not leaving a plan for a pandemic to the Trump administration,
because they
He
did.
says, they didn't leave anything. Oh yes, they did, and he had to walk it back today.
Thought they diminished.
That's what they said.
What?
What's that?
I thought they diminished all the PPE stocks in 2008 and never replenished them. That's what.
That's what you heard. Where'd you hear it?
Oh, you know where I hear it.
Well, but so that's the case. If that's the case, that was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So they've had 12 years, only 3 under Trump. That
So if Trump was so
Trump had
concerned
3
about
years
it,
to replenish them.
yeah. Well,
Yeah. So why didn't he do something
not
about
like
it if he
it's
saw
not
it was
like
a terrible
the
thing?
pandemic happened 6 months into his first term.
I mean, why did he?
Just
Why did
happened
he
3
pull? Why did he
years
pull back funding of the CDC?
He didn't pull back. Oh, the CDC funding? I think it was
Yeah.
because of bad information. And they also.
Oh! I see. The CDC has bad information, and Trump has good information.
Yeah, Dr. Fauci has bad information too.
At that
Let's see.
time-
Where did Trump get his doctorate from? I loved yesterday when he said, "I disagree with Dr. Fauci. He's
that's
wrong.
what
He's
we
wrong. I disagree with him." Wait a minute. What university did you get a degree in medicine that qualifies you to disagree with Dr. Fauci?
Yeah.
If they asked him who Darwin was, he'd draw a blank. Who?
Who?
Darwin. Who's that? David X. Trump, he would know what's going on.
Brian,
Darwin's evolution theory. Who?
Tony.
Invite him to the White House. We'll have lunch. Yeah. He's been dead for a long time, Trump.
So,
Get with the program.
Brian, is there any truth to the fact that or what they're saying is that the tests originally had to be bought through either the CDC, the World Health Organization, and you couldn't get tests from anyone else, and then Trump had to open it up to where other companies could produce these COVID tests?
No. The companies, the hospitals, medical facilities, even nursing homes, those are the ones that have our platform. So we have an instrument that can only hold our cartridge.
Right.
Because our cartridge is very different from all the other products out there. We have our own system inside that does all the mixing, all the chemical mixing internally in that small cartridge.
No, I know that, but
He just answered your question, Phil. He said no. He said no.
Whatever companies had our systems got to use our systems with those tests.
right, but your systems at the time that the virus came out, your systems were for other purposes, DNA testing and so forth. So therefore, when we first experienced this virus, there were tests that were only available through either the World Health Organization or the CDC.
No, you're getting another nod. No.
No, we started shipping. Actually, I asked that question to one of my friends that worked there. They said that they delivered to the hot spots first because everything that we track for weeks of supply, for even flu, for everything, that was off the chart.
What
Versus
Phil's
Shane,
asking, and he's going to keep asking until he gets the answer he wants to hear, is weren't these tests supplied by the World Health Organization and by the CDC? And the answer is
no.
Okay, because I thought that the Trump administration had to open up testing to private companies after the tests were found to be defective that were distributed by the World Health Organization. And
No, they weren't defective. It was our tests that were defective.
Okay, I thought that was why we were so far behind.
The WHO offered us tests that Trump turned down.
Right.
Trump refused them, and those tests worked.
And what Bright
February 10th is when we were notified by, I don't know if it's CDC or if it's the BARDA. BARDA is the one that we talk with. And so BARDA came to us on February 10th, and that's when we started doing everything for that. So.
Oh, okay.
And what Bright said today was that the problem with the testing was that there were so many different tests because of the scramble.
Yeah.
That they just started pulling out, oh, you give me a machine, you give me a machine, you give me a machine. And there were so many different tests that they were trying to figure out which ones were good. And they're still trying to figure that out. They're still trying to figure out whether they need an antibody test, whether they need a region, the kind of test that you're doing, the actual, COVID test, the antibody, the before or after test, the during test. Right now, that's their problem, is there's so many different tests, they don't know which one is best. They're just trying to get tests out. And that's what Bright was saying, that, if they had jumped on this early, they would have had tests. And in addition to that, they knew about remdesivir in January. Yeah. And they already knew that was already a possibility of being a good drug. And they could have been producing it in January and had a better grip on it, but Mr. Trump and the group there decided that they wanted the chloroquine to go through first, and they pushed that. They kicked back on the remdesivir, and that's why they're behind on that.
Wasn't the remdesivir $1,000 a pill, and the
it doesn't matter. It works.
9 cents.
It works.
These aren't pills, Phil. It isn't
not
a pill.
The economists.
The scientists were saying that this is going to be it'll stop a lot more of this stuff getting, it'll save a lot more lives than
wait a minute, hold on a second.
Chloroquine was more dangerous, and he wanted to release it,
Brian,
without having a doctor's looking over it. He wanted to just cut it loose over the counter. And not have a doctor's watching over it.
Brian, am I correct? But remdesivir is not a pill; it's a intravenous drug, right?
Yeah,
I believe it's intravenous. Yeah, and it limits from when somebody is sick, they would give it to somebody, and from 15 days, they would bring that down to 11 days.
Correct. Therapy.
Hospitalized. So.
Which is good for the hospitalizations if they can clear them out there quick.
Correct. Yeah. And it would slow people from dying as well.
Yeah. And being on ventilators, respirators.
So the deaths would be less.
Hey, Brian, can I ask Brian a question?
Yeah.
Brian, if that's another thing. If they would have more tests, then it seems like the key is you got to test these people early so that if they do have it, we can treat them earlier so that you can cure them. You have less death. This is where Trump fucked up. We don't have any test kits.
That's exactly what he was saying today.
Yeah. It hit everything. I mean, in the end of January, I got a call from my group when I was still running all the manufacturing, and they were short on masks. And then all of a sudden, we were short on booties, the disposable stuff. And then we've been hoarding, but we've been trying to use them multiple times and doing some crazy stuff. And that's when everything started hitting again with all the PPE. Then we started having problems with our Italian supplier for the swabs, COVID, and it's our Copan is the company over in Italy that builds those, and we're having shortages there. So I just came from. So this week, my big project is our new facility in Lodi, and then we also just bought a building about 3 weeks ago. We just signed, actually 1 week ago, for a facility in Newark near Fremont in East Bay. and that's going to do all flu and COVID. So
I'm going to ask you about the carpet.
Oh no, he's trying to get this.
And if you watch the whole,
Imagine he gets that job, Phil. That's big money.
if you watch the whole hearing after Bright, they had Bowden, and he's a mask manufacturer in Texas, and he's a manufacturer in Texas that makes masks in America, and we have screwed ourselves over the years, and he's been screaming since 2006 about why aren't we buying our masks in America? We've been buying them in China, and here we are amidst a pandemic. Him and Bright have been working together trying to get the government to buy masks in America because one day there's going to be a pandemic and we're not going to be able to get our mask. Well, look where we are now.
What's that?
We're trying to buy them from China, and we can't. And this guy's got 4 lines that he can't activate because now they want the government to just flip the switch and turn it on. He says, screw you. I'm not going to turn it on and then have you turn it off again.
What's that company in Allentown, Pennsylvania that Trump went to either today or yesterday?
Who gives a shit? You know, that has nothing to do with it.
They make a billion masks right now.
A billion masks, Phil?
That's what they said.
No,
Now
not
they
a
did
billion
wear a mask
masks.
too, and everybody else wore a mask.
But now it's too late. And what Kevin is saying, I remember I just saw that the guy was interviewed like 2016 or something, right?
No, in 2006, he's been screaming about this ever since.
Yeah.
And he's been trying to work the government to help, try and build up a stock of these masks. He's got the ability to do it, but he couldn't get anybody to do it.
Yeah.
So here they are, this many
fairness,
years later, and now, hello.
And Phil, I haven't heard anything about a number of a billion masks. Okay.
Not a billion.
I heard them talking about it.
Have any of you heard about a billion masks?
No.
No, that sounds like a crazy number.
Okay.
Sounds like Trump.
No, Phil, you can look it up all you want. You're not going to find a billion masks.
Billion?
There's
a billion a month?
Wearing a mask.
A billion a week.
Pennsylvania mass distribution. Let's see if I can find out how many masks were produced.
Well, it can't be a billion. That's a lot.
3.
Nobody goes home.
Phil has got it. Phil can't stand to be wrong.
Yeah,
they're not making a billion masks, Phil. We don't need a billion
But
masks.
this guy was a Republican, and he voted for Trump, and he still said,
"Yeah,
I tried, and I tried until I couldn't speak anymore, and the government didn't listen. Even Trump didn't listen."
And here's another thing, Brian. Like, it doesn't make sense with Trump. The whole month of February is just blank. What did they accomplish in that month?
Nothing.
I mean, we're busy. We're busy on the assay, But then even when we have the assay 6 weeks later, which was a record for us, with the help of the FDA stuff. But then they can't snap their fingers and get we're doing like about 40, 50,000. We thought FDA would do 40,000 a day.
Jeff had his hand up. Jeff?
Yeah. I have 2 things. One is where I live, there's probably, I think, 350 families that live in the same place. Okay. And they're going to offer to have these tests done for free, anyone who wants it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good. It should be for free.
And the question is it a good idea for me to do it? Or am I really taking it away from somebody who really needs it?
Yeah.
If you feel like you want it.
I'll ask you that question.
Somebody says here that Trump today called Dr. Bright a disgruntled employee. And,
that's what Trump called him.
Yeah, and my argument is, some employees have the right to be disgruntled.
Disgruntled, yeah.
It's not like being a disgruntled employee is necessarily unnecessarily disgruntled.
When you're ignored and you're the expert and you're being ignored, very easy to be disgruntled.
I mean, I wish Trump would have the dignity to just not get into these little cat fights.
Take all the way back to Rosie O'Donnell and Bill Maher and all these little petty bullshit things that the man has no ability to let go of. That's his personality. It's a flaw.
Yeah.
Do you think he's liked by anybody other than his kid?
I found
That's kids like.
and I may have interpreted incorrectly. It
Mm,
says,
yeah, no shit.
Trump said, guided by our team, workers
said-
like you distributed over 1 billion pieces of protective gear to places in need. So they were just part of the 1 billion pieces of gear that were done. But I heard his speech, and I heard the 1 billion, and
Yeah, you never. It's like you hear everything, Phil.
yeah. Well, so anyway, that was the.
It gets filtered through the sieve in your brain that then filters out all the stuff that's necessary. Yes, Jeff.
The
like the
one
phone.
thing that really irritates me about Trump is he always creates that, but by tomorrow you're going to have 7 billion, and everybody will have all you need.
Right.
And there's no problems. Well,
Right.
And,
Very
and
soon.
at the same time, he's okay. See, he's lying. No kidding. But you know what? People are dying because they
Yeah.
killed him
Yeah.
at stuff.
That's a good point.
And you know what? I think you ought to go to prison for killing people. 'Cause I think
80,000 Americans are
thousands
dead.
and
Can't get over how
thousands of
many are
people died.
Look, here's my
There he
argument.
is.
Here's my
There he
argument.
is.
Whether you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump, the fact is he's president of the United States, and all this happened on his watch. And apparently he wasn't watching close enough. You know, I mean, this is stuff that happened on his watch. These deaths are on him. If anybody else were president, they would also say it was on them, that the buck stops there. Okay? And that's all. His job number one as a president is to protect the American public. And he failed in that mission.
Here he is. The guy's name is Michael Bowen of Prestige Meritech. I'm a lifelong Republican, and I'm
Yep.
completely embarrassed.
Yeah. Yep.
Phil's not paying attention to that.
When you heard Bright today, also, I heard the beginning. I heard the beginning of Bright when I was going to work, and man, he talks. He does not sound like a disgruntled play. He talks very, very calm and very specific to the facts.
Yeah.
He would even ask like sort of the questions. You could tell as a Republican coming up, and a little twisted a little bit. He would go back to the same tone and the same specific details about everything. So good, well spoken.
Well, how
Yeah.
Well, how mad must you be if for years you've been warning people, and it's been falling on deaf ears? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
the deaf ears went all the way back to the Obama administration too.
Yeah.
Although
And-
Obama got word that a pandemic might happen, and so he formed a committee to look at it.
Proactive.
You know,
And that's what Bright. That's what his dream is, to be there in the front line when a pandemic comes up. He has been preparing this for all his life. The Ebola stuff came up and they tackled some of these easy ones. When this came up, he was the kind of person you want in that position.
yeah. But you know,
Trump
I mean,
fired him.
well, the fact
Hey,
was,
can I ask a question?
yeah,
Yeah. Do you think if Trump would have came out after this, like he's not humble, he's always trying to make it like it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault. Say if he would have came out and said, "Listen, I should have did more. I'm not blaming everybody. Not that the shelf was half empty." It's like he can, if he was a little more humble and took some of the, listen, I made a mistake. I should have been more proactive. But this is when he's too busy always trying to nail somebody else. He's not humble.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be Trump.
So
Yeah, he
it's-
could have
it's-
done that.
He can't do it.
That's
then.
his
He can't-
MO. He can't
even
be.
when people dying, he can't do it.
he's done
That's
nothing.
not his
It's
personality.
amazing.
You know, I mean, he's been. I think he believed you become president, and that's the easiest job in America. You know, you just come to work every day. You just wave the
Yeah,
flag. every now
listen
and
to
then.
the experts that you put around you and not fire everyone that
Well,
you don't
that-
agree with.
That's why every president, including FDR and all the ones who really were on the smart side, have always had a cabinet, because you don't know everything about everything. So you get yourself a guy who's an expert on financials, and you get somebody who's an expert on this, and an expert on health, and an expert on that, and then you defer to them. Ultimately, as the president, given all this advice, you have to make a decision based on that advice. But there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I listen to what other people have to say. And this president apparently thinks he knows it all. He you know, and it's I know more. What did he say? I know more about South Korea than anybody.
Yeah.
Well, how about a South Korean? You know, I mean,
He
know
tells
more than you know.
reporters he knows more about themselves than those reporters. He says, "I know more about you than you do."
yeah. What is Phil looking at?
What's he doing?
He's unwrapping ammo. I think he's getting his gun ready.
He's not interested in having a discussion here because he can't win.
Oh, I see. Well,
Can't win. You can't win this because
He's ready to go to Michigan with his gun.
you could be a supporter of this guy, but you have to point out when he fucks up.
Rob, I never went on this show. All I do is kind of try to keep you in check. But, you know, this is just a standard group of people sniping at the president instead of supporting him and helping and doing something to get things done. You sit around and you snipe. And
he's doing the wrong things.
Doing the wrong
I'm not going to support him doing the wrong things.
No, he's not doing the wrong thing. You guys don't have an answer for
Well, no,
squat.
you wait a minute. Hold on a second, Phil. Phil, what you're accusing us of. You also could be accused of because you stand up for this guy no matter what he does.
Right. Doesn't matter what he does.
You know, it doesn't matter what he does as long as he's doing what he said he would do, and he's doing it.
Well,
He's
yes.
not doing anything that he said he would do
He
with
said
this.
he was going
Now
to
we're in the
protect
middle
us.
of a pandemic, which
Figure out what to
I get what you're saying, Phil, when it comes to he told you that he was going to do something and he's doing it, right? But now we're in the middle of a pandemic, and a pandemic did not come up at all in the elections, and he has bumbled it every step of the way. And even like Dr. Fauci now, he's distanced himself from him. He's disagreeing with the scientist.
He's saying that you have to open up the economy, and you know what? The states that have opened up are not having higher death rates.
Bullshit is having higher.
What about Georgia, Phil?
It takes time.
Is not having that.
Georgia is having a big spike in illness and in deaths. So don't say that. It's not true, Phil.
Well, what is true is instead of being supportive of the elected president of the United
Okay.
States.
I will support him. I will support him. Okay. From here on in, I'm supporting everything he does.
Blindly.
And I
Just
can be an idiot.
God bless America. God bless Donald Trump.
And while I'm lying there on a fucking respirator, fighting for my life, I will say, Trump was right.
80,000 people, Americans are dead.
Phil, 80,000 people. If that had happened under Obama, you would be here eviscerating him.
Under Obama, 100,000 were dead.
They went ape shit over 4 people in Benghazi.
Yeah, Benghazi. Yeah, they nailed that.
What about was it SARS or H1N1 that happened?
Didn't happen here.
And how many?
That was only 12,000.
No, not 12,000. I think there was 100,000.
No, it wasn't, Phil. Look it up, Phil. No, it wasn't. Maybe worldwide. Maybe worldwide, but not in the United States.
12,000 was the most, and that was H1N1.
The United States died under your governor's watch, and it's because he put COVID patients back in.
No, he put recovering COVID patients, Phil, not COVID patients. No, recovering COVID patients. People who were on the mend.
And why did we have so many deaths in
because that was the nature of those nursing homes, and the fact that everybody was living in close quarters. And what the problem was a lot of people who worked in those nursing homes coming in with the COVID, and once they came in with the COVID, it spread like wildfire.
The NBC article with the words that
you read a different set of words, because what it said there was who he returned to those nursing homes were recovered COVID patients who had come from those nursing homes.
Said that they
recovered. Recovered was the word in there, Phil. You didn't read that word.
Yeah, I didn't see. There was no recovered in there.
I sent it back to you. I sent you back those very words in a messenger to you on Facebook. I actually took those quotes out and showed them to you where it said recovered. And there was another thing. Let me see here if I can go back to your, because you keep sending me this shit, and I really can't stand it. But,
let's see.
let me see here. Hold on a second. Phil Meyer.
We're still mandated to take recovering patients, and we can't say for sure whether the virus is spread because of patients transferred under the state mandate. Olmar said, but it's certainly not helping the situation. Asked you.
Wait a minute. It says the nursing home is still mandated to take in recovering hospital patients. We can't say for sure whether the virus was spread because of the patients transferred under the state mandate, according to them, but it's certainly not helping the situation, was what the quote was. And then they also, before that, said, I don't know if I had that other one, but it referred to it as recovering. The nursing home is still mandated to take in recovering hospital patients.
Yeah, the NBC thing I sent you says...
that was from the NBC thing you sent me, Phil.
Yeah, New York nursing home forced to take COVID-19 patients. Let's see the rest of it.
Recovering. If you read down further, Phil, it says recovering. I'm not... Look, we got too little time to go into the fact that you need a new pair of glasses.
If they're recovering, they still had COVID.
No, if they're recovering, they're not. They are not. They did not send back people who were infectious. What was infectious and what? What you saying, Brian?
We have one person. We have two people at our company that had COVID. And one is just coming back this week because she's recovering from not walking, from being bedridden. You know, she doesn't have the virus anymore, but she hasn't walked in like 3 or 4 weeks, you know? So that's the recovering part. Just trying to get the body back going again. Doesn't necessarily have to have the virus.
And they felt that the nursing home could handle the recovering patient better than they could having them sticking in a hospital. Okay. But, you know, to my...
108-year-old New Jersey woman recovered from COVID-19?
Well, then there's a chance for me if I get it.
So did an 84 and a 92-year-old.
Yeah, there was a 100-year-old patient.
108.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy, man.
You didn't look a day over 107.
Well, it certainly is, you know. But you know, I happen to think Cuomo's doing one hell of a job here, and he certainly has saved a lot of lives by his actions. Yes. And Trump and Trump can't say that for himself.
Right. Doesn't change his mind every other day, walk things back.
He's been a weak president in this kind of situation, which was the very situation we were afraid he couldn't handle, but we were hoping that he could.
We were hoping wouldn't happen.
Well, yeah. We were hoping a war wouldn't break out, nothing would happen.
That's what I thought it was going to be, an international thing.
And nobody more than myself and nobody more than the panel that's here tonight would like to see him doing a good job, because our lives depend upon it, Phil. Yeah. So anyway, there's the theme. Oh, boy, we can get out of here. I can go take my temperature again because I'm paranoid. Anyway. Hey, listen, Brian, thank you for calling. You, Jeff, you, Charlie, you, Rob, always good to have you around. Phil, God damn you. Kevin, thank you, and thank you to Tony. And all of you, I would say it would be nice if you gave a big wave goodbye, and what I'll do is the audience will wave back, and I will wave back at you as well. There we go, folks. There they go. There's our citizen panel for tonight. Let me just... hang up on them unceremoniously here so we can get the lines ready for the next show, which is Jack Bishop. He's going to be here with The Intersection, and then he'll be discussing all manner of things just like we have been, and will continue to do so for another hour right after we get off here. In the meantime, after we get off here? No, whatever. Anyway, we'll see you again tomorrow, okay? Same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye.